Why are we punishing them when they're not accused of anything?
Should apply to Michael Cohen.
Why are we punishing them of something that they're not accused of?
Because they haven't officially been accused?
Yes, why would we punish them for something they're not accused of?
You know, host, I wanna touch on something you said earlier. Wait, can you hear me at all?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I want to touch on something you said earlier. You were talking about citizens having their rights violated. How do you feel about the law firm of Perkins Coie having their rights violated?
I don't feel like the law firm of Perkins Coie's rights were violated.
So if we look at the case that they filed, the amicus brief that they filed against the executive order.
Yeah.
Wait, repeat that? I'm sorry. I think I'm cutting out.
I said we've looked at all of it. We've read all of these.
So it's more of a feeling than it is factual.
I literally said I don't feel like their rights were violated.
Right. And so why do you feel like their rights weren't violated?
Well, because I don't think that a court has the right to compel the United States government to do business with any law firm or anyone for that matter.
The courts who compelled anyone to do business with Perkins Coie?
Okay, well, if the court is telling them that they have to continue, because the whole purpose here is that the U.S. government said we aren't allowing Perkins Coie to do any contracting or work for the federal government.
Wasn't it also?
The United States government has the right to say no taxpayer dollars are going to go to Perkins
their
Coie.
access due to
Their security clearances were restricted for completely different purposes.
Yeah, but this was all via an executive order. That is again
right. But why the executive decides who we do government contracting with? Who else has the authority if not the executive to decide who we give government contracts to?
Right, and on top of that, the power to classify and
it's a sweeping.
No,
go for it. Maybe I'm lagging. I think I might be lagging, but it's a sweeping discriminatory executive order. That's why it's a problem.
That's not what I asked you. I asked you whether or not the executive branch decides, one, who gets security clearance within the administration, and two, who they contract with.
The executive does get the ability to choose whether or not if people get security clearance, but in this case, it's a retaliatory action based off their political leaning. It's not because they're a threat to national security.
You keep dodging the question. Does the executive branch decide who they contract with? You keep reverting from answering that question and sidelining to just saying that this executive order is discriminatory.
Millie, I think I literally just said yes, the president. I literally just said the president does decide that, but he also can't do that based on political leaning. That's what I said. It's a two-part question, or it's a two-part answer.
It's his discretion, well, just like he could fire any employee within the White House.
Hold on.
No, not hold on, Millie.
It does matter because it's unconstitutional.
You can rebut me when I'm done talking. I'm really, really fucking sick of people just steamrolling today. You don't get to decide that. In fact, if Trump wants to fire staffers in the White House that were affiliated with Obama, he can terminate them. It doesn't have to be political or anything of that nature. He simply decides who he has on his staff and who he doesn't have on his staff. And he decides who the administration is going to contract with.
So one, we are not talking about staffers, and two, he cannot do this for political leaning when it comes to law firms and who other government contractors want to do
where
law
that's
firms.
Written in the law.
You said what?
Show me where political leaning is written in the law as far as government contracting.
What do you mean? That he can't choose that? It's literally in the Constitution.
Have the authority to end government contracts on political leaning.
Yeah, in our Constitution, quite literally.
Where? Which article?
First Amendment. Literally First Amendment.
The First Amendment?
Yeah.
Okay, so what does the First Amendment say about
the freedom of
political
association?
leaning?
Yeah. you can't make
The
an
First
executive order
Amendment
going
doesn't
against.
entitle you to contracts. Are you
Damn,
shitting
am I
me?
lagging or something? Am I lagging, or are you just talking in the middle of my sentence?
No, continue.
Okay, thank you. Anyway, yes, literally way. Freedom of association based on their political leaning, they can do that if they want to. That is within their First Amendment right. I don't know if you guys don't know that or how you guys don't know that, but that's literally what it is. And in the executive order, he quite literally does all this with literally in the second paragraph stating it's because of their political leaning. So.
Okay, so I'm going to read the First Amendment so that we're very clear, because I think you're very lost in the sauce.
Go
The
for
First
it.
Amendment, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free speech or free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or of the right to the people to peacefully assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievances. Where does that say that you have the right to be employed by the federal government and retrieve contracts from the federal government, or the fact that they have to keep you hired for your political leaning?
If you're being
petition, and
Yeah.
it's the right, it's literally the right to petition, and literally that's why Hillary Clinton signed them up, or not signed them up, I'm sorry, went to them in for this like explicit matter.
Yeah, if you're being
That's for
punished,
grievances. That is not for the fact that they can terminate contracts.
if you're being
No,
punished
I'm
for
saying the
petitioning
right
the
to
government,
petition.
how is that not a violation of the First Amendment?
They're not punishing you. They're not imprisoning you. They're simply saying that we're not going to contract with you. Do you
That's a
understand
form
what
of
that
Or
means?
give you clearances?
Yeah, it's a form of punishment.
No.
Yes,
Okay,
it is.
What is the punishment?
Do you have a right to be employed by the federal government or for
have a right
federal
to that.
taxpayer dollars to be given to you?
No,
You
but
don't
you
have
also
a
don't have a
right
right
to
to have the
that.
president. No, but you also don't have the right for the president to terminate that just because of your political leanings. That's literally what the problem of this entire situation is.
That is
Well,
the
it's the
right.
fact
think
that
you guys
unlawful
just- I think you
crimes
guys
were
are ignoring
committed.
that
What
because
is
it's
your
left-leaning.
understanding of Perkins Coie involvement in any of these crimes?
Crimes.
Yeah, actual crimes.
Well, they're not involved in any crimes. They're all allegations.
They're not involved in it. Okay,
No, they're
well,
not involved
all
in any
these
crimes.
indictments
These are all
are
allegations.
You guys are, your
Fact that
heads
they
are
think
gonna
that
spin.
the First Amendment entitles them to government contracts.
No, I never said that. I said entitled to petition. Like literally, I said that.
I just want to make sure that everybody's
write
aware
an
that
actual petition and send it into the government. That is not fucking you just saying anything out loud about the government.
And I just want to make sure that
So-
we're aware
so
that,
the problem
that
is
the
that's
left is
what they-
legitimately arguing that there's no crimes committed, and they're arguing for the rights of Perkins Coie, but definitely not for the rights of private citizens, and how illegal FISA warrants were obtained, literally violating people's rights.
That person got indicted. Kevin Kleinsmith got indicted.
He's not the only one.
He was the one who was lying in the letter.
Who purchased it? Who purchased it? Who did they work for, and who purchased it?
What do you mean, who purchased it?
Mark Elias from Perkins Coie is who purchased it.
Is that illegal?
Yeah, it's illegal when you're giving false information to the federal
No.
government to obtain a FISA warrant.
The only person who lied in the FISA warrant, or in the application for a FISA warrant, was Kevin Kleinsmith.
That is false. And you do realize that there are entire releases from Operation Crossfire Hurricane that are currently available to you to read.
Yes, I understand.
Right?
I've read Crossfire Hurricane.
You've read the new stuff that's come out. Even more
What
stuff
new
just came out
stuff?
last week. All of
All
the
right,
new
what am I
stuff
missing?
released by Chappelle and the new stuff released by Chuck Grassley.
Okay, who else lied? Can you give me a name? I'll look it up.
Why aren't they indicting any
There's
of these
a
people? Then?
fucking list of people. Are you serious?
Give me one name and I'll look it up.
Peter Strzok, Lisa Page. How
do you spell Strzok? S-T-R-U-G?
Administration of Susan Rice.
S-T-R-U-G? Is that Strug? Is that
No,
is that
it's
right?
K. It's C-K.
C-K? Struck? Peter Struck?
No,
No,
I think it's
It's
S-T-O-R-K.
Z. There's S-T-Z. There's a Z or something. It's spelled weird.
Struck? S-T-R-O-K? Is that it?
U-Z-K. I think it's U-Z-K or O-Z-K.
No, I'm pretty sure it's S-T-R-O-K.
No, there's an extra
I just
letter.
want to point out.
There's a Z
I just want
in
to point out.
there
Do you guys see
somewhere.
like?
S-T-R-Z-O-K. I was close.
Do you see you literally agree with like American people having their rights violated, and you just don't care because it's on a different side than yours? Like you guys can't really complain about you supposedly being silenced. when you don't even care that it's happening to other Americans. Just want to point that out. It's a little bit
When
crazy.
I don't care that it's happening to other Americans. Are you fucking kidding me? When did this start? When did this start?
Yeah, on that legal.
It doesn't matter
it's
when
already
it
a-
started.
Yeah,
If
it matters
Biden
when
did
it
it,
started.
it's bad.
When
If
when
Biden
did
did
the
it, it's bad.
government
Trump
exploit
is
the
bad.
Bank Secrecy Act in order to get information about Americans to put them on lists? When did the FBI start targeting people that were purchasing Bibles and believed in a family and went to church? When did that happen? What administration
So
was
are you
that?
saying it's not bad now? Like, are you saying it now? Like, is that is that the argument right now? Because it happened back
What
then, it's good now?
Americans are being targeted
That's really
right
the
now?
argument, then you're
What
anti-American.
Americans
I
are
just
being
want to-
targeted right now?
A whole other law firm.
Oh, so now the left
I can
cares
give you two
about
other law firms that got audited
corporations
as well.
and
Like,
the
what do you mean?
elites.
These are
Got
American
it.
people.
Got it. I thought you wanted to overturn Citizens United, which
These aren't
makes
elites. These are
corporations.
lawyers.
I thought you guys wanted to overturn Citizens United, which makes corporations
What
individuals.
does that have to do with me? What does that have to do with me? Hold on. I'm not addressing. What other
Was there a
leftists
list
want
of
or whatever.
attorneys
I'm addressing
included,
what I
or was
want.
it
I don't really
just
care
the
what
law
other
firm
people
of
want. I
Perkins
agree.
Coie, which is a
People that-
fucking corporation, genius?
Again, I never said anything about elites. I said law firms. Just because you're a corporation doesn't mean that you're an elite.
You
I
don't
just
think that
want to point that
Perkins
out. Secondly,
Coie is one of the most
I don't know about
elite
any other
law
leftists or
firms
what they
in the
want.
entirety of the United States of America?
When we're talking about elites,
What about
we're
King
talking
and
about
Spalding?
people
Do you
who are
think King and
so
Spalding is
wealthy
one of the
that
most
they
elite law
we're
firms
talking
in the
about like
United
the
States of
wealthiest of the
America?
wealthiest. Yeah, we're talking about the wealthiest of the wealthiest people. No, they're not, I don't think that they're like elites when we're talking about the wealthiest of the wealthy people. To be honest, no.
Hey, SK, there's already a summary judgment on that Perkins case. Why hasn't
I
Trump
know,
appealed
I've read it. I've read it.
So why hasn't he appealed it? If he agrees with you,
I think he
Because
did.
they
that
already
decision-
agreed. They already agreed to give a whole bunch of free legal work to the United States government because
it
they
was
were kissing
unconstitutional.
ass.
Right, it was ruled unconstitutional.
They literally gave what $20 million in
Yeah, it
free
was
legal
ruled
work to the
unconstitutional.
United States government. Are you okay?
on 4 different bases, not just one.
What does that matter? That literally doesn't change the ruling though. You realize that, right? Like if it wasn't unconstitutional, he could easily fight this.
He
I'm fighting
accepted $20 million in legal work in exchange. Are you serious?
So he accepted a ruling that says he did something unconstitutional in exchange for free legal work. Do you see how goofy that sounds? Like that sounds absolutely
That's
silly.
exactly what happened.
Okay. Anyway, I don't know what other leftists want, but like I was saying, I would say that they say crazy stuff as well, but you guys are just as bad as them, honestly. I feel like you guys can't complain about that.
I feel like you don't know what the First Amendment actually entitles, and you're not entitled to work for the U.S. government.
Never
period.
said you were. You're
You're
literally
making the
a
argument that Donald Trump cannot end contracting with anybody that he wants to.
No, that's not what I said. What I said was he
That is
can't
what you
do
said.
that. No, I
Do
said
you
he
think-
can't do an discriminatory. I said he can't do an discriminatory executive order towards a law firm based on their political leaning. That's literally what I said. Just because they petitioned the government.
Yes,
That's
he
quite
can.
literally.
They
So
didn't petition
if
the
Coca-Cola,
government.
so if Coca-Cola, right?
They didn't
So let
petition
me
the
ask you
government.
this.
When did they write a petition to the government?
What do you think the Steele dossier is? Anyway,
The Steele
I just want to point
dossier
out
is not a
if
petition to
Coca-Cola,
the government.
listen,
No, that's false. I'm not going to tolerate
The
misinformation.
Steele dossier is a bunch of made up bullshit on Donald Trump to try to make him look bad. They called it opposition research. I thought you said you read these documents.
Okay, that's amazing. That's amazing. Let me ask you this question.
That's where the
If
PP
Coca-Cola
story
right now
came
put
from.
Republicans rock, yeah, if right now Coca-Cola put Republicans rock on a can, and then Joe Biden had written an executive order saying you can't sell those cans in any federal buildings because you put Republicans rocks on it, do you think that'd be legal? Do you think that'd be constitutional?
How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? I don't do fucking.
Also,
You see, I don't want to
the
answer the
federal
question.
I don't
government
do
can
hypotheticals.
choose
I've
who
answered
they
every one of your
contract
questions.
with
Why
and
can't
who
you just
they
answer
don't
yes or no?
contract with. That's the most wild
Irrelevant.
claim I've ever heard. I don't give a shit
It's not
what
irrelevant. You don't want to answer.
what
Why don't you
can
want to answer that?
company the federal government contracts with. The federal government has the ability to choose who they contract with and who they don't contract with.
Do you think they could do it on
So I'm
any
asking.
grounds?
So you think that?
I think they can do it on the grounds of, are you following the
Right. That's what he
laws?
should have done. Right. But he
They
vaguely
can
Well,
do
they
it on the
did follow
grounds
the
of
laws,
not
but
following the
Right.
I just.
laws. They were not following the laws.
What
Wait, so
law?
can I
What
get an
law
answer
wasn't
to that
It's like
Perkins?
the whole
What
DEI
law?
bullshit.
What law?
Just like you're not going to be able to get a job with the federal government if you follow the DEI bullshit.
What illegal activity did Perkins Coie engage in?
Exactly. He needed to prove that there was a national security risk or something that they did.
Foreign
and
They're
that
the ones
worked.
that
interference in an
purchased the
election?
Steele dossier.
Interference
But
in
that's
an
what he
election?
needed
They
to
were never
file.
charged with
Purchased the
that.
Steele dossier.
They were
These
never
are all
charged with interference in
allegations.
an election.
Hold
That
on,
indictment
Oh
was
my
dropped.
god.
The
These
FEC
are-
literally fined them for that. What are you talking about?
For interference in the election?
Yes, they got their information from where? Where was the Steele dossier produced?
From a Russian informant.
Oh, okay. Would that be interference?
No, not the kind of interference that Trump engaged in.
You're taking information from a
complaint with
foreign
the-
asset and applying it to the election.
The complaint with the FEC literally says that Hillary Clinton and her campaign, with a whole list of other
The
people,
complaint, right?
they mislabeled campaign funds as legal fees
Where did that
when they were
complaint go?
campaign expenditures as legal fees when they were actually opposition research, and they did so with the intent to influence the outcome of an election. Which
Yeah,
sounds
you're citing
really
allegations to
familiar
me. You're citing allegations.
mislabeling expenditures as legal fees when it was actually a payment for an NDA.
Were they
with the
ever
intent to influence
charged
the
with
outcome of
election
an
interference?
One is 34
Yes,
felonies.
by the
one is
FEC.
No, they
FEC
weren't.
You
fine.
did not.
No, they weren't. The DNC was. The DNC was fined by the FEC, not.
And-
and
Interesting.
Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, but not Perkins Coie, right?
The campaign
Hillary
for
Clinton is not
DNC,
Perkins Coie.
The attorney is Perkins Coie. They run.
Did they charge the attorney?
for the DNC?
Did they charge the attorney?
No,
They charge the entire
No.
campaign, which includes Perkins Coie.
Is that okay?
And
If I look that
it
up,
was
that's what it's going to
Perkins
say,
Coie.
right?
Go ahead and look up the FEC complaint and their fines that they put on the Hillary Clinton campaign, which includes Perkins Coie. And specifically, what they got majorly fined for is they lied on their documentation about legal fees instead of it being labeled as opposition research. They specifically are commenting on Perkins Coie and the payments that went to Perkins Coie. And after that, you can tell me what the FEC does, because I think you are lost in the sauce.
Listen, I came up to talk about Garcia, but somehow the Perkins
She
Coie
literally
stuff came
can't answer any of my questions. She literally can't answer any of my questions.
I don't
and she
engage in
believes I'm
Parker
fucking-
hypotheticals. I engage in an objective truth. If you want to talk about the law that says that the executive branch cannot terminate government contracts and anybody who is a government contractor from working with somebody who is an adversary to the government, then you can bring me that law.
Wait, repeat what you just said? I'm sorry, I was reading something.
Okay, grab a pen.
I was reading something. I just said repeat it.
Yep. So you can find me the law that says that the executive branch cannot terminate contracts and instructed government contractors to not engage with people that they deem to be adverse to the government. You can find me that law.
Who they deem to be adverse to the government based on political leaning or no?
Nope, just adverse to the government.
I never said just adverse to the government. I said based on political leaning.
Okay,
That's
well,
literally what I said.
you can find me that too.
Yeah, it's the First Amendment. That's literally what they're citing. That's
That's
why
not
they
the
wrote
First
the.
Amendment.
That's literally why they wrote the amicus brief,
That
and that's
is
why
not
they
the
literally.
First
That's
Amendment.
literally the argument that they're arguing on. Like their First Amendment was
You can
violated.
have free speech, sir. You just
I didn't
don't
say
have to
anything
be
about
involved
free
with
speech.
government
Hold on.
contracts.
I didn't say anything
Hold
about
on,
free
what
speech. I said
legal
petition.
weight do you think an amicus brief has?
The
Do you know what
amicus
an
brief is
amicus
the
brief
complaint that
is?
they filed. That's all I'm saying. That's the
Are you-
argument that
are
they're
you-
running on. What do you mean?
Dude, what?
What? Like, what are you confused about?
Yeah, what is an amicus brief? Tell us what an amicus brief is.
Yeah, it's literally a complaint you're levying to the court.
Oh, really? Why is it that lots of people submit amicus briefs to the court?
Because they're probably
Either
filing a
in
complaint to
support
the
of
court.
one side or in support of the other.
Because they're filing a complaint, obviously.
They're not filing a complaint. That's not what an amicus brief is.
So what's an amicus brief?
It's in support of one argument or another argument. It's literally just a legal argument submitted in court.
And what's the argument about?
What is what argument about? You just keep
Their
referring
arguments.
to
They
that's
have
why they
six
wrote the amicus
They literally
brief.
have
An
6
amicus
arguments
brief is
in their
literally
amicus
just a
brief. And
legal-
what is it about?
An amicus brief is literally just a legal argument submitted to the court, and it can be in support of the plaintiff, or it can be in support of the defendant, or it can be just a random amicus brief with your idea. You can write an amicus brief and submit it to the court.
Oh, this guy is so like, okay, you realize they filed the amicus brief after the executive order, correct?
Obviously, yeah.
Okay, so then it has nothing to do with the executive order in regards to them, because your argument is that they can't do it off of a brief. The brief was made after the fact, not before the fact.
Millie, what are you talking about? They filed the amicus brief arguing that the executive order violates their rights.
Okay, and you're saying that their rights was the First Amendment. You can have free speech.
Amicus
You
briefs
can
are
have that all
literally
you
people-
want, but you're not
Millie,
You
entitled
understand
to
that
government
amicus briefs are
contracts.
literally filed by people
Am I-
that don't
am I
have
tweaking?
anything
Did
to
I not
do
say-
with the case. You think an amicus brief is a complaint. You don't understand that what you're reading when you're reading an amicus brief is somebody completely unassociated with the case that is submitting a legal argument in support
they-
of one side or the other.
How are they
You realize
unassociated
that's
with the
what
case if
you
the
need
executive
to look-
order is against
You
Perkins
need to
Coie?
look up. You need to look
There's
up
a
the
summary
definition.
judgment.
I don't know the exact definition of an amicus brief, but I think
I know
it's
you
fucking
don't.
wild
I don't-
that
you don't
think
even know
it's
what a brief
complaint.
is.
So why don't
You don't
you
even
pull
know
up
what a
the
simple brief
definition
is.
of an amicus brief and read it out loud for the class, because I'm packing my bag. So pull up the amicus brief and read for us what it is an amicus brief is, because it's damn sure not a complaint, and I guarantee you
They're
nobody
literally-
has anything to
What do
do
you
with
think
the
a brief
case.
is?
And it's a legal argument either for in support of one side or the other side. It's just a legal argument submitted to the court.
Arguing what? The complaints against
Whatever
the
they
executive
want to
order.
argue, they are arguing
Oh
a
my
legal
God.
point.
This-
They are
this
making a
lady is-
legal argument in a case. You do realize that people on the outside of a case can submit amicus briefs to argue a legal point that either hasn't been made or a
It's
point
literally
that somebody
Perkins
feels
Coie.
is valid. You can file an amicus brief. Anyone can file an amicus brief in a case.
I would like to add, I looked up the letter that charged Hillary Clinton and the DNC for the Steele dossier, and the only mention of Perkins Coie is how the allegations were dismissed against them. So I would consider that. It doesn't seem like there's any formal allegations against Perkins Coie. I don't think they were charged. It seems like the only people that were charged were people associated with Hillary Clinton's campaign and the DNC, but more like specifically associated with the campaign, not just representing them in court.
Can we please get the definition of an amicus brief before we start moving on to other fucking topics? Because I want it to be clear to everybody in here, an amicus brief is not a complaint, and he's relying on some random person's legal argument as to why
Random person's legal argument? Where are you
I just wanted to put a
Hold
bow
on,
on that
how is
topic.
it a random
Who
person's
filed the
legal
amicus
argument if
brief?
you're it's
Who
an
filed
it's an
the amicus
argument.
brief?
It's literally an argument. Yes, I agree with you. Yeah. It's an argument.
Okay,
Can you tell me what the arguments were? Can you tell
For
me what
which
there were
person?
from the law firm that they were filing on behalf of?
Well, they were filing legal arguments on First Amendment grounds.
No, it's not just First Amendment. It's First, Fifth, and Sixth Amendments. But one of the counts was First Amendments. If we look at the first account, it's literally talking about their First Amendment their First Amendment rights were violated based on freedom to petition, literally. And you can't petition due to,
Yeah,
and you
but
can't.
literally
Petition.
anyone can file an amicus brief. I don't
Yes, and
understand. It's not a judge's ruling.
No, the judge ruled that
Well,
the judge
can you
ruled
please
that
help out
they're.
your buddies over here on
Oh
your
my
side.
God, I'll just pull up the ruling. This
SK,
is like this
it's
is
all a
goofball
moot
shit.
point because there's a summary judgment. A judge
I
made a
know
final
there's
ruling.
a summary judgment, which
So
is
why are
exactly
you
why I
arguing
thought
about
he was
other
making the
briefs?
arguments he's making, and then he brings up amicus brief, and I'm like, what the
Yeah,
fuck
look
are
at
you
that. Put me on the
arguing
big screen.
amicus
Just put me on the big
brief
screen.
for?
Put me on the big
Who
screen.
cares
Just put me
about
on the
other briefs? We got a
If you-
summary judgment.
No,
Okay,
let me
I'm
just put me on
muting.
the
I
big
have to
screen.
finish packing my bag.
Okay, so now you don't want to put me on the big screen. This is the
There
ruling
are
from
other
the case.
people in here that you can put you on the big screen. Quit being a whining little baby.
Okay, I'm just saying. This is the ruling on the case. You goofballs can read that shit for yourself.
That's it. Judge out.
Yeah, that's the ruling. That's the ruling.
But that's
What
the
does it
summary
say?
judgment, right? That's the summary judgment.
No,
Is this
what
a
does it
district
say?
court?
Literally, what does it say?
Is this the district court?
Yeah, look at the bottom.
Yes,
United
it
States
is.
Has the Trump
District Judge.
administration appealed this decision?
What is it?
They haven't though. That's the problem.
They haven't appealed it?
Nope,
No,
they haven't.
All right, let's check.
You said
It
what?
was
They
given
haven't
on the
what?
2nd, and it hasn't been appealed. 2nd of May.
May 2nd, no appeal. A month later. Because they know they don't have a case. They targeted these people for
Right,
political
so
That's
can you
reasons.
tell me what
not
this
true.
says? It says
Ferguson
it violates
went to
what,
them
right?
and offered them all sorts of legal work for the government. That's what happened. I already said that.
But why are you arguing the
That's
constitutionality of something that was already decided and not appealed?
Sorry. This is a district court ruling. This isn't a Supreme Court ruling, so don't be bringing up constitutionality in here.
Need appeal
It's
to
on
the Court of
constitutional
Appeals when they
rights. It's on the
haven't.
First Amendment.
Hold on,
I
appealing
told you
to the
why they
Supreme
didn't
Court in this
appeal.
case
They
is
didn't
bullshit.
appeal because they offered them all sorts of free legal work.
So then you just let this ruling stand that they violated people's constitutional rights, and you're sitting here arguing against it?
I don't care. You guys are the ones that.
Is that not goofy shit? Like, this is
You
goofy.
guys are the
I know
ones
you don't
that
care
argue
because you're
every single
anti-American.
day
This is
in
goofy.
support
You
of
guys are anti-American and
overturning
you complain.
Citizens United, which makes corporations and
Yeah. You're
individuals.
finna.
This wouldn't even be a case if Citizens
I don't know.
United
I don't
didn't
care about
exist.
Citizens United. I don't give a shit about Citizens United. I'm not talking about Citizens United. I'm talking about
Well, I
this.
just want to make sure that
I don't
you're
give a damn about
everyone.
Citizens
I
United.
just want to
I'm
make
not
sure
talking
that you're understanding that you're arguing for First Amendment, Fifth Amendment, and whatever else rights you're arguing for a corporation.
Yeah.
We're arguing
Okay,
for
that's cool.
Constitution,
That's fine.
actually.
Their rights were still violated.
We're arguing for a constitution.
Their rights were still violated. It doesn't matter.
And the abuse of
You
executive
complained about
power.
people's
The
rights being
right to be
violated, and now that I'm showing
contracted
you
with the
people's rights
US
were violated, you
government.
don't care.
You don't have a right to be
you-
contracted with the
You
U.S.
No,
keep,
but
government.
there's a legal
you keep
process.
going back to this lazy argument. It doesn't make sense.
The ruling
Lazy
disagrees with
there is
you.
no
argument.
right.
It's not a constitutional
You keep going back to
right.
this lazy argument, Millie.
But there's a legal
We're not
legal
talking
process
about
to terminate
being
the
Still
contract.
don't have a Hey, I'm sorry. Was I lagging or were you talking in the middle of my fucking sentence? Yeah. Oh shit. I think you were.
You're lagging. That's
yeah,
what's
you were.
happening.
You
You're
were
lagging,
talking in
'cause
the
I'm
middle of my
telling you.
sentence, right? Shushies. So, excuse me. You don't have a constitutional
matter.
right to be contracted with the
You're
U.S.
so wrong.
government. The government can decide who they contract with.
Right. And
Then
if,
why did
Do you have a right to
contracted,
petition
you
the
have
government,
to-
though?
There's a legal way to terminate the contract, and he could have gone that route if he had the evidence to do it. And there's an act that you need to follow to show that they're not complying with the contract, and he chose to go an EO route, which was found unconstitutional.
Yeah, the executive order was permanently
what was
enjoined.
the law left leaning that they had to abide by to terminate?
FAR is the acronym. Let me go look it up.
And also, I just want to be clear for what we're arguing for. We're arguing that
Yeah,
it's
Millie, your
okay
arguments are
for the
terrible. They're
we're,
like literally dog shit.
we're arguing that it's okay for the president to basically say, I'm going to terminate the government contracts and security clearances of not only this law firm, but anybody that this law firm represents because they represented my opposition in court. Like, this is insane.
Yeah, it's under acquisitions. It's policy. It's
There's a conflict of interest.
It's 48 CFR Chapter 1, FAR Part 49 for terminations of contracts. And that's the federal acquisition regulation is what he needed to follow.
Jesus,
But he rather
amicus briefs do they have on this fucking document? Holy shit. There's so many briefs.
Yeah, because he did it to multiple different law firms.
So are you talking about the amicus briefs?
Yeah.
Not that this guy
They're
used
all
to
from
create?
one-
They
That's
filed
what
like
happened.
literally,
100 amicus
you're
briefs.
literally looking at random people that have filed legal arguments in this case. Those amicus briefs mean exactly zero. It's not because he's
Who
done
cares? What are
this
you
to
talking
so
about?
many people.
Just out of curiosity, like, do you guys think this was a
Well,
good executive
no,
order?
the reason they're filing the briefs is because he's done this to law firms. Of course they did.
Like, do you guys think this was a good, a good complying with First Amendment rights kind of executive order? Like, do you think it's okay?
You're not entitled to be contracted with the U.S. government. You're not entitled to a security clearance either.
Well, I mean, but we're talking about
That's
like
what these
rights that
cases
you
were
have.
about.
She keeps reverting back to this because she can't engage.
We're talking about rights that you
The
have
right to a
independent of
security
law.
clearance.
You agree that
I
like
have
morally,
a question. I have a question. If you guys are the same people that do not think that the Biden DOJ or the Biden administration was weaponized in any way. So if you are somebody that's coming into office that the administration previous to you, which hasn't really ever happened in the history of the United States until Donald Trump came into office, and literally the entirety of the government was leveraged against him. Do you think if you're going in there to make sure that there aren't any of these people still in the administration or associated with the administration that are going to try to undermine everything you do, because you know all of the information that they've had access to and you know everything it is that they've been doing the entire time you were in office? Are you going to go in and make sure that those people can't have access to anything in the government? Yes or no?
You're literally just advocating actually for barring anybody with left-leaning allegiances from suing the government. That's insanity.
Talking about barring people that were known to participate in actual operations against the president of the United States.
Yeah, like suing him. That's insane.
So you just want to leave these? So let's say your people get elected next election, and there's a whole bunch of people in the government that participated in things going against the other political party, and you get into office. You're going to let those people continue to stay in government, and you aren't going to make sure that they don't have access to your information so that they can try to undermine all of your plans?
I'm never going to be in favor. I'm never going to be in favor of removing government grants from people who work with law firms that the president doesn't like.
Correct. That's a private entity. That's someone within the government.
Those grants are American taxpayer dollars.
Wait,
if
so
the American
do you think
taxpayers don't want to be paying dollars to that place, they shouldn't be going to that place.
Do you think it's okay?
And based on the election results, American taxpayers don't want to be paying tax dollars to that organization.
Do you think it's
one
okay
of the main reasons
for the president?
Election is the corruption that took place.
Do you think it's okay for the president to punish law firms for winning against him in court?
What law firm has he punished for winning against him in court?
The three that brought the lawsuit and won.
You think that he brought those because they won against him in court?
Literally, yes. That's what he cited.
You don't think it has anything to do with any of the actual criminal behavior that took place
in
order to go after him?
What have they been? Exactly. What have they been charged with?
Wait. Your head is going to actually explode off your shoulders when indictments start coming out.
Wait, can you tell me what they've been charged with now?
Until then, it's illegal what he tried to do with an EO.
Yeah. What have they been charged with? What illegal activity did Perkins Coie get convicted of?
The whole point. They need to be able to defend themselves in the court to show that they
falsifying
didn't do
business
illegal.
records.
But
and they were
Wait,
charged
Millie,
by
where?
the FEC.
Millie, where?
Yeah, the FEC is an enforcement agency.
I just read you the letter, how all of the allegations were dismissed for Perkins Coie, and it was only to the DNC and Hillary Clinton.
They are the attorney for the DNC.
It explicitly says.
Hold on. Read the document.
I did.
Please read the document in regards to what they were getting fined for.
I did. Perkins Coie is literally explicitly named about how they're dismissing the allegations against them.
Was it for legal fees?
It doesn't matter. That's not what Perkins Coie is. That's not Perkins Coie's business. That's the DNC.
Who is the attorney for the DNC and whose legal fees are they regarding?
So do you acknowledge that the allegations were dropped against him, right?
Can you just answer the question?
The allegations were dropped against Perkins Coie, right?
Who's the attorney and the legal fees that they are returning to?
The allegations were dropped against Perkins Coie, right?
I don't care. You've said that 5 times now. I just
want to make sure that we agree that you're punishing a whole law firm for one lawyer.
According to you, who is the attorney that they were referring to in regards to legal fees?
You are punishing the whole law firm for one lawyer. Do
you think that's appropriate? The fucking question. If you don't know, just say so.
Do you think that's appropriate?
Stop pivoting.
I'm not. You are pivoting actually, because you're talking about a lawyer that isn't Perkins Coie.
Away from the question.
You are
if
actually
it's not Perkins Coie. Then who are the legal fees that they are referring to?
I don't know if you are tracking here. That is a pivot. Okay, what you are asking me is a pivot. You're talking about punishing Perkins Coie for something that they were not alleged to do. You're talking about punishing a law firm for something they were never alleged to do.
Hillary Clinton paid Perkins Coie, who then turned around and paid Fusion GPS, who then turned around and paid Christopher Steele. Who is the legal fees that they're referring to?
The commission also dismissed the allegation that Mark Elias and Perkins Coie, LLC, and Hillary Clinton for America and Elizabeth Jones in her official capacity as treasurer violated at 52 USC 3121. Interesting. So you're punishing something for you're punishing the law firm for something they were never alleged to do. Can we both agree
You
that
won't
Perkins
answer
Coie
the
has no
question.
allegation?
Stop pivoting.
Can we both agree
and
that Perkins
answer
Coie
the
has
question.
no allegations?
If it's not Perkins Coie, then who are the legal fees going to?
It doesn't matter. You're talking about punishing Perkins
Yes,
Coie.
it does.
Yes.
Because the whole
the money
crux
went
of
to
the
Perkins
FEC
Coie.
complaint and the fine is the
Yeah.
falsification
Okay.
of business records and campaign
Right.
finance records,
Right, and they got fined.
misallocating legal fees instead of
Right.
opposition research. So who's the
And they
legal
paid their-
fee
You realize
being paid
And they
Perkins
to?
paid their
Coie is
penalty.
Michael
And they got
Cohen,
punished
right?
and they paid the penalty.
You realize
So what
Perkins
next?
Coie is Michael Cohen in the hush money case, right? You realize
But they
Perkins
paid-
Coie
they
did
were
exactly
penalized
what
and they
Michael
paid their
Cohen.
fee.
You realize that Perkins Coie did exactly what Michael
This
Cohen
is a
did.
lot
and
of
I want
very-
you guys to listen to the words
No,
that are
it
coming
wasn't.
out of your mouth.
You guys are pivoting.
Yeah, this is very fun pivoting. I
We're
just want to be
answering your
clear that we
question.
all agree.
And
Do we all
apply
agree?
exactly to Donald Trump
Do we
and
all
Michael
agree
Cohen.
that there are no allegations against Perkins Coie right now? No legal
Yes.
allegations against Perkins Coie? Do we agree?
Yeah,
Right.
you said right.
Okay,
I'm glad
we
you
do
said right
agree. So
now,
why are we
because
punishing them?
Wait, and also, again, apply
They
every
don't wanna answer
argument
that.
you're making, and then you'll understand how the right feels.
Why are we
because
punishing
every
them when
single
they're not
thing that you're
accused of
saying
anything?
Should apply to Michael Cohen
Why are we punishing them of something that
They've
they're
been-
not accused of?
because they haven't officially been accused.
Yes.
because
Why
they
would we
haven't
punish them for
officially been
something they're not
accused.
accused of?
Officially accused
That's
them
that's
the
like the
right
whole
way,
point of
legally.
that's the whole part of our justice system is not punishing people for crimes
What
that they
did I
haven't
say a
been
second
committed.
ago when I told you when indictments start coming out? be
When indictments
prepared.
start
Then
coming
do
out, then
that.
you can
Don't
start
do
taking
EO.
action. You can't do that prematurely.
Right, do that
Okay, and
instead
I
of
want
the
you
EO.
to I want you to apply every argument you just made to Michael Cohen, because in the situation with the FEC, Mark Elias and
Right.
Perkins Coie is literally Michael Cohen.
Okay.
It's the exact same case. One's in the New York State Court and one's in the FEC.
Okay, so can we agree that both of those are wrong then?
Can we agree that maybe there are a lot of judges and lawyers and people in the
Oh,
government
so
that
no,
for some
we
reason don't want
can't.
to bring
Oh,
anything against
interesting.
Democrats, but they want to
Interesting, we
bring
can't agree.
felony
Okay.
charges against Republicans?
So it's a
Can you
it's
not
a
admit
it's a
that that's
this is a
actually
this is another pivot.
weaponizing of the government?
Which
is another
EO?
Can we
pivot.
recognize that?
This is another pivot.
Can we recognize that?
This
No,
is
it's
another
not a pivot.
It is a pivot.
No, it's
What
not
does
a
this have to
pivot.
do with
No,
Perkins
the-
Coie again?
So should there have been a Biden EO
Thing
to
it had
punish
to do
Trump
with the
organization and not let the legal route do it? Right? Should an EO?
having attorneys that are contracted with the government that are purchasing
crazy.
fake information from Russian adversaries and from Ukrainian spies to then use that to interfere with an
Millie,
Take
do
it to a
those
judge.
wait, hold on. Do those attorneys even
Take it
work
to
for
a
Perkins
judge.
Coie
They
anymore?
don't have to. They're not entitled to a security clearance.
So no. So again, you're
Left
punishing
leaning.
them for something that
No,
they've
but you
never
have
been
to
They're
prove
accused
why
not
they
of.
shouldn't
entitled
have
to
it.
security clearance. We can revoke your clearance at will.
Right, but you
Do you
have
think
to
it's
show
good?
why, what the breach was to
Yes, I
revoke
do.
it. Follow regulations. That's all.
We already
Will somebody
There's
Google
never a
real
reason.
quick what law firm Bruce Orr worked for?
Does he still work for Perkins Coie?
I'm asking somebody to Google what law firm Bruce Orr worked for.
Okay. Bruce Orr, like ORR?
Like OHR.
OHR?
I also love that Hillary Clinton's campaign tried to sue the FEC and they lost, and then their appeal also lost.
Mm-hmm.
She paid her $100,000.
I also
and
really
we're
like
good.
how Perkins
We're
Coie
done.
has never been accused of anything. None of their allegations stuff.
Yes,
That's
they
interesting
have.
too.
Yes, they have. In the FEC complaint, it specifically lays out Perkins Coie
Okay,
as
let's
being the
read
person
this
who was
again.
paid
The
and
commission
being
also
the
dismissed
actual law firm.
the commission also dismissed the allegation that Mark Elias and Perkins Coie LLC and Hillary for America and Elizabeth Jones in her official capacity as
I
Treasury
don't care what they
violated
dismissed.
52
They dismissed- You
USC.
realize your taxpayer dollars also went to
don't
pay.
I know you don't care
Peter Strzok
because it's
and
anything that
Lisa
you could do
Page.
to uphold Donald Trump. There's no violation that he could ever do because it's always going to come down to okay, but like taxpayer money, lol.
Do you know
It's
what
insane.
do you know what Peter Strzok and Lisa Page did for the FBI?
I'm sorry.
And do you know how
I-
many of your tax dollars went to pay them for
Yes.
committing crimes?
Yes, I do. I'm not a partisan hack. I can come out and say that the Democrats did something bad. Can you say that this EO is bad now?
No.
No.
Okay, cool. So I don't know why you brought that up. Okay. So
Well, I want.
why
all
are we
corruption out of our
punishing
government.
law firms
and I don't think
for
that these
something that
people
they've
should
never
have
been convicted
access
of?
to classified information just because.
Why are
Just
we
because
punishing law
some
firms
judge
when they've
says
never
they
been
should.
convicted of anything?
I don't, these people are corrupt. I don't want them in our government.
Where's the charge for that? Where's the corruption charges?
The president of the United States can choose who has access to classified information and who doesn't.
You're claiming they're corrupt. Why are we punishing somebody who's never been punished for anything?
Apparently.
What law firm
it's
did Bruce Orr work
unconstitutional.
for? I heard you Google it.
I didn't see. Are you going to say Perkins Coie?
I have no idea. That's why I asked you to Google it.
Well, I have no idea either.
Court specifically mentions Perkins Coie as being the legal fees that they are referring to, and you kept dodging that question.
And then
every
in
5
the
seconds.
letter,
If
they
I said,
dismissed.
If it's not, stop talking
in the
over
letter,
me.
they dismissed the
Stop
allegations,
talking
right?
Over me. Stop talking over me. If it's not Perkins Coie, who are the legal fees that she got fined for?
Doesn't matter.
The way she paid the fine. Who are the legal fees that they are referring to?
It doesn't matter. There's no allegation that it's Perkins
Yes,
Coie. It was dismissed.
You just saying it doesn't matter is not
It was
answering
dismissed.
the question. That's
It was
you
dismissed.
dodging the question because you
Just
don't
answer
have
the question,
information
dude. You
to
never
back
answered
it
the
up.
question.
It was
Because
dismissed.
he
Point it
doesn't
out.
have
The question's
information to back it
irrelevant.
up.
The question's
It is
irrelevant.
not irrelevant. She got
But
fined
answer it,
and
but
she paid the
who cares if
fine.
it's
Okay,
irrelevant? Still
so
answer it.
Millie, if you aren't the
Did or
Boston
did she
bomber, then
not
who
pay the
is?
fine? Did she
Yes.
or did she not pay the fine? Okay.
She did.
What was
And,
the fine in regards to?
Legal
for
fees.
labeling it different, right?
Yeah,
Legal
the
instead of
same
correct,
exact
right.
thing that Donald Trump was
Labeling
charged
what?
with 34
Left
felonies
Correct.
for.
Whatever it was, legal fees versus campaign or whatever. What's your point, though?
Yeah, I would love to see how this relates
Well,
back to
legal
Perkins
fees
Coie.
Again,
Instead
every
of
time we get to
opposition
this,
research.
you guys won't say it's Perkins Coie because you know it fucking rebuts the argument.
No,
she
because they were
paid the
never
fucking
charged with
fine.
it. They were never charged with it. They were never
You don't
even
have to
fined
be
with it.
criminally charged.
They were never
You don't have to
fined
be
with it.
criminally charged. They were fined with it.
Perkins
Which means
Coie was
that they
not.
did
Okay.
something wrong.
Wait, where was
Okay, so
Perkins
then-
Coie fined with it?
They were literally fined with it. They are part of the DNC Hillary Clinton campaign, and the fines that they received were in regards to legal fees that were paid to Perkins Coie.
But why
Because
were all of the
Perkins
allegations
Coie-
dropped against Perkins Coie if they were fined?
They were not dropped against Perkins Coie.
They
are
were. I
part
just
of the
read
Hillary
you how it
Clinton
was.
campaign.
I just read you
They're
exactly how it
part of the
was.
Hillary Clinton campaign. It is the legal fees that were paid to Perkins Coie that they got slapped on the hand for by the FEC because Perkins Coie paid Fusion GPS, correct?
Do we want to? We can read the letter if we want to. It literally
Which
explicitly
one?
exonerates
Which one?
Perkins
There's
Coie.
like 5 different memorandums.
The Federal Elections Commission from Richard L. Weiss.
Read the FEC complaint and you realize there is an entire court ruling on this. It's CLC v FEC.
CLC v FCC?
FEC,
FEC? Okay, let's see.
the Federal Elections Commission.
Mm-hmm.
Is he reading a dissenting opinion? Because there are concurring and dissenting opinions, by the way.
That's why I said there is an entire court case on this. There are multiple rulings, and they even tried to appeal the ruling, and they lost the appeal.
Sorry, I'm not at my computer.
I'm swooping
Or
around,
else I
but
would
it's
just
gonna take me a second.
Well, it's there's a dissenting and concurring opinions.
SK,
Why did the FEC go after?
You'll
why did the
never
FEC
guess
go
who
after
the
him?
judge. Hold on, left leaning. You'll never guess who the judge is in this case.
Boasberg.
Posberg. The goat.
Boasberg was the Kleinsmith. Boasberg was the Kleinsmith, and he's also the one that hired that dude that hated Donald Trump and talked so much shit about Donald Trump to revamp the FISA courts, because Boasberg was also head of the FISA courts when all that went down. Let's play this game.
So you think they let the law firm off for facilitating the payment? Because the DNC and Hillary got fined. Right?
Yeah, I
And they-
think that
Fine,
there
which
were a lot
admits
of,
guilt. They
Yeah,
they
and I
took
think
the L.
and I think that there's
Okay.
a lot. I think there are a lot of crooked ass judges And a lot of the corruption in
Why?
our government goes extremely. Why? Are you serious? Did you not see
Yeah.
Did you not see the differing statements between the judge making statements, multiple judges, as a matter of fact, making statements
which
about
case?
the January 20th, 2017 protesters and the January 6th protesters?
The January 20 versus what January 12th protesters? What happened on January?
So, well, real quick before we,
January 20th,
what I'm reading is,
2017.
so this is the a letter sent by the FEC to a conservative group that requested an inquiry on the specific fines. This is what I'm reading. It says the commission dismissed the allegation that Mark Elias and Perkins Coie violated USC 30121.
Yes, that's criminal statutes. That's not federal election statutes. This is why they got fined instead of going to prison.
Can you like tell me where to look for anything that shows that
You know the
Perkins
difference,
Coie
right?
was? It doesn't matter. Can you tell me anywhere that you can
It
that
does
I
matter.
can find Perkins Coie getting fined? Can you show me anywhere that happens?
They got
That
fined.
They never got fined.
They were fined in addition with the DNC that for the Hillary Clinton campaign because they were a part of the Hillary Clinton campaign.
No.
So why does
reason
the-
that they got fined? Stop interrupting. The whole reason that they got fined was the falsification of business records that were going from the campaign finances to Perkins Coie because they lied about the money being legal fees and instead opposition research. That's what they got in trouble for. That's what they got fined for. And it specifically involves Perkins Coie. You can't go throughout this brief without saying that Perkins Coie was not the people that they were referring to the falsifications of campaign funds going to.
They were probably talking about the specific attorney. When I'm looking at this letter that's breaking down the entire fine breakdown of all of the parties, the only time that Perkins Coie LLP is listed is a dismissal of an allegation.
There is no dismissal of allegation. They were the ones that
I read it
took
to you.
the campaign finances and gave it to Fusion GPS. What they got slapped on the wrist for is the legal fees, and this is why you keep refusing to answer
do you want me
who
to
the
read
legal
this
fees
letter?
are going to.
I can read
It
this
was
letter.
paid to Coie.
I can read the letter if
It
you
was
want me
paid
to.
to Coie. See, left-leaning
Right.
understands this case.
Yeah, they're
Griswold,
involved. They didn't have to
do
pay
not.
anything themselves, but they were the legal one that received the check that was mislabeled, and were told of what to label it. So yeah, they were involved. But
Correct.
it's-
They were
I
involved.
never
Just
said they
like
weren't
when
involved. They were
hush
listed in
money
the complaint.
case, just
Right,
like
so
in the
whether
hush
they
money
were-
case, Donald Trump
Right.
and Michael Cohen got in trouble for campaign finance laws.
Yeah, but
when
Michael
it comes to
Cohen-
Michael Cohen, he got charged for
Right.
campaign finance laws, and Donald Trump
Right.
got charged with falsification of business records. It was for the exact same type of issue that Hillary
Right.
Clinton got in trouble with
Right.
Perkins Coie.
Just-
And you're not
Right.
understanding it, Rinwald, because you've only just maybe Googled this 5 seconds ago.
Do you want me to read the breakdown of the fines in this letter? I can.
No, we've read it. We've read
read it,
it.
I
bro.
really don't think you
But-
have.
I've read the
Wait, no,
entirety
they
of
have.
every
It's
document
irrelevant.
of
But
Operation
you know the
Crossfire
difference-
Hurricane. Even your side is telling you we
But
have.
Millie, you know what the difference is? That it was filed with the FEC and it was mislabeled. Trump didn't file it at all. He hid it completely. That's the major difference.
But if
No,
you
that's
filed it
not the
under
major
FEC,
difference at
Well,
all.
that is
it's
a
got
huge
slap on
major
the wrist.
difference.
No.
Yeah, it's a
They
huge
did
major
legal
difference.
gymnastics in order to even try to make it a
No,
campaign
that's
donation.
the key
Yes,
difference.
they did. It wasn't a part of the campaign. Nothing was given to Donald Trump. Money was given to Donald Trump, an expense made from the campaign, and they intentionally
He
mislabeled
should have
it.
filed it with the FEC. He couldn't. You know why?
As
'Cause
a
the
matter of
amount was too
fact,
big.
they filed this with the
The amount was
FEC
too
for
big.
Donald Trump. You're full of shit, left leaning, and you know it because they filed this with the FEC, and the FEC declined to fine Donald Trump because they didn't find he violated any campaign finance laws.
Okay. I just want to be clear that
Going
we
down the
understand
rabbit.
that
We're still back to the EO though. we don't use an EO. If you want to go after the law firm for that, you bring a lawsuit.
which the lawsuit
Right?
that they
And
brought
say, hey,
was nothing.
no, the government has to bring a lawsuit to cancel the contract per the federal whatever act for non-compliance of a contract for their behavior and do it the legal way. But the purpose of using EOs is because he's trying to bypass the legal way to cancel a contract. And it's found to be unconstitutional.
What about, while we're talking about Operation Crossfire Hurricane, why don't we talk about all of the different people and how they lied in order to target Donald Trump?
I know you would love to talk about that.
Let's talk about how many of these people also lied.
Didn't they dump that already like 2 months ago?
Bruce
and nothing came out of it?
And Nellie Orr.
We tried.
I'm good.
Wait,
good.
don't leave yet, because I'm about to prove you wrong on the FEC, because they literally just lost their
back to the
complaint
FEC.
in 2024.
Okay, let's see it.
I'm going to read it to you, okay? This is from the appeals court.
Uh-huh.
The FEC's argument rests on apprehension that without further caveat to the plaintiff's standing, that the district court's remand order would require the FEC to take enforcement action on the source and contribution limited allegation whose dismissals the commission believes the plaintiffs lack standing to the challenge in federal court, but the district court's remand order did no such thing. It provided that because the commission's decision was based on an impermissible interpretation of the act and was otherwise arbitrary and capricious, its dismissal of the plaintiff's complaint was contrary to the law. The court leaves it to the expert commission on remand to sketch the bounds of the internet exemption and to more fully analyze the facts before it. The exception must have been real bounds, however, and the clear evidence of coordinating discussed above shall inform commission's analysis. For the foregoing reasons, the court will grant the CLC's motion for summary judgment and deny and direct the commission to conform with the decision within 30 days. So it is literally saying that the FEC has to take action, and the court, including the appellate court, because this is the appellate decision on this district court orders, that the FEC has to take action in accordance with campaign finance law, in which that they were incorrect in not pursuing the charges against Perkins Coie.
Okay, where are the
Where did it
charges?
say that?
Where are the charges? In the other complaint. So I'll pull up the other complaint.
Where did that tie it to Perkins, which you just read?
The initial argument in the initial court hearing is that, what was it, Coolidge, Reagan, something, they filed a lawsuit against the FEC trying to force the FEC to take actions against Perkins Coie.
Against Perkins Coie specifically?
Okay, so that's
Perkins Coie, Hillary Clinton, and a couple other people. So I'll pull up the other lawsuit because I just canceled it out. So 1 second.
Okay. That seems like a pretty big swing and a miss to me, but I don't know.
No, it still is going to boil down to this. If you have all this evidence, go to the stupid rule in the FAR, provide the evidence, and terminate the damn contract per law, per regulation. Why don't you go down the legal route? If you have evidence that this guy's a gang member and he's a trafficker, due process, notice, get a lawyer, get the evidence in court, and then deport him. Why are we doing it through EOs? It's the process that matters, not whatever the final outcome is. That's going to fall wherever it falls based on evidence in court. I'm saying stop bypassing existing law that's already there to do all these things.
Wait, hold on. Can you read the defendants? Wait, can you scroll up and read the defendants?
The defendants is the FEC.
Okay. And then
they're suing to force the FEC to enforce campaign finance law. So Coolidge Reagan Foundation asked the court to compel the FEC to take action on administrative complaint it is filed with the FEC 9 months ago, and providing reason to believe that Hillary for America and the DNC committee violated campaign finance law by conspiring with foreign nationals, including current and former members of the Russian government, to manipulate the results of the 2016 E-word. The administrative complaint alleges HFA and DNC worked with British national Christopher Steele to generate a so-called Steele dossier and thoroughly debunked collection of lies, spurious. God, I'm so tired. Thank you. I'm tired. Allegations intended to discredit then candidate Donald Trump. The HFA and the DNC used their shared law firm agent Perkins Coie LLP and a strawman intermediary to and conduit to avoid public reporting than the tens of thousands of dollars they funneled abroad to pay for the fraudulent document.
Okay, and then
So
where did this
they
document?
are
Where did this
compelling
complaint
the
go?
FEC.
Keep reading. I'm curious. Go ahead. So
Wait,
Okay.
before you keep reading, I just want to know, where did this complaint
This
go?
is their complaint.
Where did the complaint go?
What do you mean? It
Like,
went
what-
to a district court.
And then what was
Do you
the
want me
ruling?
to keep reading?
I just want to know what
The
ruling was.
HFA, I just showed you the other ruling from the appellate decision because the district court ruled that the FEC has to enforce this, and then the appellate reaffirmed the district court's decision.
And they ruled
So-
that it has to be enforced against Perkins Coie LLC specifically.
where's is
It has
Perkins'
to be
name?
enforced against all of them.
It has
Is
to
it
be
at the
enforced
top?
against all of them. The charges can't
Is
be
it
dropped
at the
against any
top?
of them.
They have to enforce the complaint, which is the complaint is against
Enforce the complaint
all
in
of these
whole.
people.
That's what you're telling me.
I'm sorry?
Enforce the complaint in whole.
Yes.
They can't drop charges against anybody.
They have to enforce the campaign finance laws. They can't just turn a blind eye. They have to enforce
Oh,
it.
yeah, sure. And then what?
Okay, so
when was that
that's-
appellate
this
decision?
literally was ruled upon, by the way. The appellate decision was ruled upon in July of 2024. So this is very recent, by the way.
But
Okay.
who are the main claimants on the top? Was it the DNC, Hillary, and Perkins?
I just showed you. So it's right
no, at
here.
the very top, not that
They
introduction, at
filed-
the very top.
It's
right there.
Coolidge
Who
Reagan
versus who?
Foundation v. FEC. They filed a complaint with the FEC. They lay this out to compel the FEC to take action against the administrative complaint. It filed with the FEC 9 months ago. Okay.
So, but the final thing would be the FEC naming who they find. So why didn't they name the law firm?
So the district court affirmed that the FEC has to enforce the complaint.
But why didn't they? But why didn't they against Perkins? They only mentioned the DNC.
They did
and,
not. It says right here.
No, it says there that's what they should do. But the FEC came out with their own paperwork, and they only.
It doesn't matter.
What do you mean it doesn't matter?
This lawsuit
No.
this lawsuit in this court is enforcing that the FEC has to enforce the complaint. That's what it's saying. That's what this whole lawsuit is
and
about.
they didn't because Perkins didn't pay a damn thing. So what happened?
No, you're talking about in 2016. This is recent.
The letter I was reading where
This
it was
is in
dismissed against Perkins
2024.
Coie was 2022.
Oh, this is something recent.
This is a new.
Oh, so you're
this
going
is a
back because they
new
didn't do it
legal
back then.
judgment. Look at the file date. Okay.
2024, yeah.
This is the appellate jurisdiction. This is the appellate court ruling on this. Okay. Because they tried to appeal this decision and they lost.
But if they already paid the fine, why is there a new ruling? I'm so
Because they
confused
want
with
them
the
to
timeline.
charge them under the
Oh,
law.
so
just
criminally.
like Michael Cohen was charged under the law.
Oh, so this was to charge him criminally outside the civil.
Yes.
I
Yes,
got you.
because
Okay.
remember, you guys, what your whole argument up here, when you came up here, was that you can't be discriminating based on political affiliation. Remember?
Yeah.
So if that's the case, where are the criminal charges after that? I'm confused now. Even
That
more
was just
so.
done in July of 2024. So it's
So it's
Oh,
still
so the
pending?
case isn't
There's
finished?
going to be criminal charges.
It's
You
still-
guys,
it's
like
still
I told
pending?
you before, your heads are going to explode when
Well,
criminal
no, they won't.
indictments start coming
Wait,
out.
can you punish somebody before they're charged of a crime? Because charges might come later. Can you do
they
that?
lost in district court.
And
The
appeals.
district court found that they need
Wait,
to
Perkins
can you
Coie is
answer-
literally
can you
one
please
of
answer that
it-
question?
Perkins Coie, not Mark Elias. Perkins Coie is named in all of these
Can
suits.
you please answer that question? Can you punish somebody for charges that might come later?
The president of the United States can decide that the government isn't going to do business with someone based on not only district court rulings, but appellate court rulings that indicate that a law firm was involved in illegal activities. And the president can say, you cannot have access to classified information and you cannot do business with the United States of America.
It's pending. You can't say that they were involved
It's
in
not
illegal activity,
pending.
right?
That's an appeals court ruling.
What? Send me that, Millie. Later. You don't have to do it right now. I gotta dig into that because that's a
And
third
that-
party suing the FEC to go after
Understand
somebody
that the
else. It's
enforcement
weirdest thing.
agency.
The
Who is the enforcement agency?
What's the
Leslie?
case? So the case name is what?
Yeah, I want that case name. I'm gonna go research that. Maybe not now, but I'll go look at that.
It's the Coolidge Reagan Foundation, the FEC.
Standing to the Coolidge Reagan Foundation having any of this is so weird.
No, it's just funny because other people get charged criminally for campaign finance violations, especially attorneys like Michael Cohen, and then like Perkins Coie just gets to like skate away unscathed. Crazy how that works.
Not unscathed, by the way. Perkins Coie is not playing the same role that Michael Cohen or Donald Trump is.
They literally did.
Maybe the one lawyer did.
They literally took the money.
They're literally the exact same. The cases are the exact same. The difference here is political persecution. Okay. And one was brought on in a state court with felony charges, 34 felony charges, for the exact same thing that Hillary Clinton got an FEC fine for, which, by the way, Donald Trump's issue was taken to the FEC, and the FEC declined to fine Donald Trump's campaign because they found he didn't violate. They found that he didn't violate campaign finance laws. And then you have the number 3 person at the DOJ leaving the DOJ on a Friday, and the next Monday getting hired by the Alvin Bragg in New York.
Where is this case from 2025 or 2024? Because all I'm reading is that it was withdrawn from court.
The appellate decision. Oh my God, you guys!
What I'm reading, August 15th, 2019, the Coolidge Reagan Foundation filed a notice of dismissal without prejudice.
When it was originally filed. You realize that court cases take years.
Okay, that's why I'm asking. Where can I find this updated thing? It's not showing up.
Okay, I'm sorry that you lack the availability and the mental capacity to follow cases through the end.
What a good faith engagement.
I gave you the case.
Yeah, and I'm saying that I looked up Coolidge Reagan Foundation at the FEC, and it's not coming up. So I want to have a good faith conversation on this, but it feels like
I'm sorry that I love how you say it's not coming up, and I literally had the court documents on the screen, and I read it aloud.
Yeah, and I'm asking you where to find it, and you're like, oh, well, if you can't find it, I'm just asking you where to find it. Where did you find it? What did you Google?
I found it on Google.
What did you Google?
And I'm sorry that apparently you have struggles finding court cases on Google.
What did you Google?
I told you this 3 times.
Yeah, and I Googled it and it didn't come up.
Reagan Foundation VFEC.
Yeah, that's what I Googled. It's not coming up. So,
I literally just showed the court documents to you.
I'm not denying that it doesn't exist. I'm just asking you where to find it.
I'm so sorry that you have not any kind of mental capacity
you just link it to me?
Find these cases.
Can you just link it?
I literally just did.
Where?
Oh, I just had these up on the screen.
That's not a link. That's not a link, girl.
I'm not doing your homework for you. I'm so sorry.
This is very good, very good faith. Very good faith engagement, right?
Whatever.
It was very good faith when I read the court documents off to you.
Yeah, but then you won't let me read it by myself. Weird.
Yeah,
go read it by yourself and come back here, bro.
I'm trying to find it. I'm just asking you what you Googled to find it.
I just gave you the link.
Where?
You did it. You showed us on your screen.
Yeah, that's not a link.
I showed you the court case. I literally showed you the court case. I don't know why this is so hard.
I'm sorry.
Because I Googled exactly what you told me to Google, and it's not coming up. I Googled exactly what you told me to Google, and it's not coming up. That's why.
Okay.
I see something in 2019.
And so you said that you Googled that and nothing came up.
Yeah.
So if I type this into Google right now and I prove that you're an absolute
you'll get the 2019 case. You'll get the 2019 case.
Are you just going to admit that you just don't know how to research online or what?
You'll get the 2019 case.
Okay, so do you realize that there's more than just the 2019 case?
Yes, I'm asking you where the fuck to find it. I don't know how many times I need to say. Okay, thank you. Okay. That was a good
so hold on.
Good way to go.
I'm gonna go do your homework because you have struggles with research.
Uh-huh.
I'll go do your homework for you.
Thank you so much.
The 2019 case was dismissed in August of 2019. So obviously there's a different case in 2024.
Do I need to look like a appeal? Is that what's going to make it come up? 2019 case. 2019, 2019, 2014.
I don't think it was versus FEC. From what I read, it was versus something else on the top. That's why I asked her to go to the
Literally
top.
Coolidge v. FEC. Like, I'm so sorry. You guys are so bad at researching.
Where at?
I'll just put it on the big screen again and slowly
I
scroll
just
to the
did, dude. I just did this for you 5 seconds ago.
We
What
didn't
did you
see
Google to
anything.
find
Left
it?
leaning. How do you not know how to look up a case?
What did you
Here,
Google to
here's
find
the
it?
case document.
You can't without a
It's
name.
case number. It's case number 1:19-CV- 01493-ESH.
Wait, slow down. CV dash what?
Oh my fucking god. I'm over it. I don't care.
You're not gonna read
If
it?
you can't
Okay.
pay attention, I
Millie,
can't help
you're
you.
horrible, Millie. I send you DMs of
CV
court
dash
cases all the
what?
time.
CV
I'm
dash what?
horrible. I just had this up on the screen for you. I
CV
read
dash
it
what?
aloud for
seconds.
you.
CV
You were
dash
able
what?
to ask questions while I had it up on the
Yeah,
screen.
that's just-
And now
CV
after I
dash
take
what?
it off the screen, you're questioning the source of the information.
Yeah,
then
I wanna read
just
it.
read to you the
Source.
case document.
I want to
so
read
you
it.
can
I'm sorry.
it
I
off
don't know you. I'm
yourself.
not going to
It's
trust
bad
your
faith.
characterization. Please.
This is
CV
not
dash
bad
what?
faith. You guys are just
Absolute
slow.
bad
It's
faith.
all right. I'm gonna link.
I'll
I'm gonna
read
link you
it
my
slower
source. It's
for you.
CV9. Okay. If you didn't get that, then I don't know. That's
Are
as
you
good
fucking
faith of a
kidding
link
me?
that I can give you.
I read that slow as hell.
Yeah. What's
It
stopping
is
you from reading it
case
again, buddy?
number 1:19
Okay.
You lost me by the fifth number.
dash CV dash 01493 dash
01493.
Oh my fucking god. I can't, dude. I'm so sorry. You're so slow.
I'm so.
I read
I'm
that
sorry.
off
I
as
don't know.
slow as
Should I
hell.
just like mind read you and get the link from you, or
You should just go be able to research the internet like
Oh,
normal
I'm sorry.
adults.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll just go learn how to research and then I'll
Funny
come back.
because Match right here in the comments was able to type it out on his fucking cell
Oh,
phone,
perfect.
and you're sitting in front of a keyboard, and you can't even manage to type this in or
If
even
only
just
you
write
could've.
this down.
If only you could have
Listen,
typed
it's
it
in the
with your
comments
keyboard.
for you now.
Yep, I just looked it up. Let's see.
Quiet.
Because this guy
I'm
just
trying to find
realized
it.
how to research on the internet.
I'm trying to find it. All I'm seeing is the initial complaint. Where do you find the appellate? Or the
Bro.
appeals?
Okay, like here we go. Here's what I'm gonna do. Oh, hold on.
There we go. Bring that back up.
I would just like a link. I feel like that's a very easy thing to do, but maybe not. I feel like a link would be subverting a lot of the problems here.
I think I've tried to think of everything. I do a body wash in there.
It has to exist if it's on her screen, right? Someone saying
I'm sure it's somewhere.
Yeah, I saw it on her screen, so it's got to be somewhere. It looked like Court Listener, but I couldn't tell.
But I couldn't find it on Court Lister.
I couldn't find it either.
Okay, let's see.
It's a pending case anyway, apparently, because the FEC never find. There's no criminal charges, and the FEC never fined Perkins, but
This is true.
and it has nothing to do with the EO, which was found to be unconstitutional.
True. Yeah, I always forget how deep these rabbit holes go. I'm like, diversion on diversion on diversion.
Yeah, we got on a tangent arguing over.
Okay, well,
All right.
I gotta go. Great talking to.
All right. Have a great day.
Left-leaning.
I need some fucking Tylenol
I
now.
love you.
Oh, bro, that's my name. Roll.
I love it. Raul. It's been great talking with you. Millie, it's been great
You
talking
too,
with
man.
you. I just hope it wasn't too bad. Oh boy, oh
Just,
boy, oh boy.
Hope it wasn't too bad.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy.